Shalom, Shalom, and welcome. This is Endtime Reflections. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening, set-apart nation. Those who are drawn by the Almighty Creator, the Almighty One, Yahuah, to Yahusha Mashyach, as it is written in John 6:44. In this 71st installment of Endtime Reflections, I want to bring your attention to the words refuge and shelter. If you are one who seeks to do the will of the Almighty Father, I consider you my brother, my sister, my family. My brothers and sisters, the final exodus will prove that movement will begin to take shape. It will be gradual and gradually and eventually ramp up with intensity in the passing days ahead. Or should I say in the coming days ahead. This will result in temporary refuge and shelter for many. But before I state the case and get into this subject, let me say this. The views expressed in these podcasts do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, management, and or shareholders of this video, or should I say podcast media platform. On that note, the Great Tribulation brings widespread deaths and destructions. Our destinations will be made clear, resulting in different types of refuge and shelter, as ordered by Abba Yahuah. Most recently, a chain of events occurred that I will be speaking on soon. And it leads me to believe, or at least lean to the belief, that possibly the 7-year tribulation has begun, and it begun on what one would call December 21st of the Gregorian calendar. But that's in the 8th month of our year, we who are set-apart children of Yashar'al. I will soon release a series of messages on White Roads family entitled Final Exodus, Countdown 2023. This is not countdown to the return of Yahusha Mashiach. It is counting the days and months and weeks ahead to the release of a nation that is in captivity. And I believe the final exodus will be marked that we have until what is known as the Gregorian calendar, December 2023. But it is our 8th month, O Yashar'al. With that said, in that series, I will present things to look for, to examine me and look for, to see if indeed the Spirit of the Almighty Father is giving me this time and period for us to be mindful of. And if there is no evidence in any way, shape, or form, then label me a false prophet. But as I see it, as I believe it to be, out of all that occurred in the last few days, I am strongly leaning on believing that Countdown 2023 marks the time. And if you want to know why and more, stay tuned for Final Exodus, Countdown 2023. With that said, getting back to the subject of this installment, refuge and shelters. End times are here, my brothers and sisters. Make no mistake, while man is trying to find the narrative to make you think things to get back to normal, they will never get back to normal. While man is trying to give you a narrative to calm you down or give you hope, false hope is wicked, my brothers and sisters. Expectation of end time prophecies is what we should be looking at. The realities of what is written are coming to life before our very eyes. For such a time as this, we will discover that the power given to chosen leaders to guide us each passing day as directed by the Spirit of Yahuah will come. In the name of Yahusha, we will see chosen ones rise up and present instructions and guidance and living orders, execute the direction from the Almighty Father. Let's get into a little bit of reading regarding refuge and shelter. Come, listen, hear, prayerfully, and seek to discern the life in these words. Let me begin with Proverbs 14:26. You see, my brothers and sisters, as end times ramp up, people will be looking for a place of refuge. They will be looking for shelter. But it begins with the fear of Yahuah and trusting Him to identify where you should be and where you should go. In Proverbs 14:26, it says, in the fear of Yahuah, a strong trust, and His children have a place of refuge. That refuge could be a literal physical shelter, or that refuge could be going to the grave to sleep and rest and be freed from what's coming and waiting to Judgment Day. It could be from one extreme to the next. In John 12th chapter, verse 36 through 40, it reads, while you have light, believe in the light so that you become sons of the light. These words Yahusha spoke and went off and was hidden from them. But though he had done so many signs before them, they did not believe him, that the word of Yahuah, the prophet, might be fulfilled, which spoke, Yahuah, who has believed our report, and to whom has the arm of Yahuah been revealed? Because of this, they were unable to believe, because again, Yahusha said, he has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, so that they should not see with their eyes and understand with their heart and turn, and I shall heal them. You see, because of unbelief, many will be blinded and are blinded to what's unfolding. But make no mistake, refuge and shelter is something that will be sought after. And I say it is already. 2 Corinthians 4:3-4 says, and indeed, if our good news has been veiled, it has been veiled in those who are perishing, in whom the mighty one of this age has blinded the minds of the unbelieving, so that the enlightening of the good news of the esteemed Messiah, who is the likeness of the Almighty One, does not shine on them. It's because they are perishing, my brothers and sisters. I want to also read Isaiah 11:12. For it is important that we know a final exodus is coming. He shall raise a banner, Isaiah 11:12. He shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yashar'al and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. It didn't say only Yehudah. It didn't say only Yashar'al. It said banner for the nations. It will be one banner, Yashar'al. But it will consist of both Hebrews and Gentiles that are drawn by the Almighty Father. Hebrews and Gentiles, Abraham and Goyim, who are drawn by the Almighty Father to Yahusha Mashyach. A great multitude of many nations, kindreds, and tongues, as mentioned in Revelation 7:9. Sure, the 144,000 is also included. My brothers and sisters, Isaiah 43:5-8 reads, do not fear, for I am with you. I shall bring your seed from the east and gather you from the west. I shall say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar, my daughters from the ends of the earth. All those, many people when they see all those, they say, yeah, all of us are going. No, it's not. It's listen to this. All those who are called by my name, whom I have created, formed, even made for my esteem. That's saying to fulfill the purpose of the prophecy that is made. It's not saying everybody, my brothers and sisters. Keep in mind there will be martyrs for Yahusha's name. Keep in mind that he reigns on the just and the unjust. So do not be deceived by people thinking all of us are going, trying to give you a false hope. It's time to embrace the realities of what's ahead. In Matthew 24th chapter, verse 4 and 5, and Yahusha said to him, take heed that no one leads you astray. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. Do what you may, do what you must. My instruction to you is seek to discern the voice of the Spirit of the Almighty Father Yahuah, sent in Yahusha's name. Seek to discern the living guidance. Know how to vet and examine. Know what to do, when to move, when to be still, when to speak, when to be silent. Matthew 5:43. You heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. My brothers and sisters, and he goes on to say, but I say to you, love your enemies, bless those cursing you, do good to those hating you, and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you. My brothers and sisters, this is not saying be passive and let people walk over you. When it says love your enemies, you do what love presents. Read the whole chapter of the 13th chapter of, I believe it's 1 Corinthians. Let me double check here. There's a chapter that speaks on love. Know all the dynamics of love. Love, my brothers and sisters, is not being weak and passive. It's doing what is expected for the perseverance of life. I believe it's 1 Corinthians 13. Let me see here. Yep, 1 Corinthians 13 chapter. Read it. Read all the dynamics of love and ask yourself, did not Yahuah slay families, children? Did he not destroy lands for his love for us? Rest those that's cursing you, my brothers and sisters. Demonstrating to them how to live a set-apart life is a blessing. Do good to those hating you and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you. Continue on what we are charged to do. Make sure you understand it's not saying be passive and weak. Goes on in the 45th verse. I'm in the 5th chapter of Matthew. It says, so that you become sons of your Father in heavens, because he makes his sun rise on the wicked and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. You see, these earthen vessels will go back to the dirt, my brothers and sisters. Treat people as we are ordered and directed. There are exceptions to different things, and only the Almighty Father will stir our spirits to identify when those exceptions occur. Many who lean on just the text will miss the fact that there are times of exception. One example is when Yahusha said, what shepherd will not go to free up his sheep or lamb on Shabbat? That was an exception. And he said Shabbat is made for man, not man for Shabbat. Let me continue, my brothers and sisters. I'm compelled to read Revelation 8, 7 through 12. And the first messenger sound, and there came to be hail, fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown to the earth. And a third of the trees were burned up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the second messenger sounded, and what looked like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood. And a third of the living creatures of the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. And a third messenger sounded, and a great star fell from the heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the fountains of water. And the name of the star was called Wormwood. And a third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters because they were made bitter. And the fourth messenger sounded, and a third of the sun was struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them were darkened, and a third of the day did not shine, and likewise at night. My brothers and sisters, destruction and death is coming. The purging of the set-apart ones that will be gathered from the four corners of the earth is coming. The removal of obstacles is coming. The realities of end times are here. Make sure you pursue an ear, a spirit, a belief to identify what the Almighty Father is expecting of you. Revelation 9, 13 through 15 said, in the sixth messenger sound, I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden slaughter place, which is before the Almighty One, saying to the sixth messenger who had the trumpet, release the four messengers, those having been bound at the great river Euphrates. And the four messengers, those having been prepared for the hour and day and month and year, were released to kill a third of mankind. Make no mistake, set-apart family. There will be massive destruction and widespread death in the days ahead. There are people that will tell you I'm fear-mongering. My brothers and sisters, we will fear the Almighty Father, and in the fear of Yahuah will come knowledge, wisdom, and discipline. Let us not fear what man can do, but fear will come and rise as we see the realities of the promises of the Almighty Father. There are three major promises that I mention often: discipline, vengeance, and wrath. It has begun, my brothers and sisters, to the children of Yashar'al, the children of Yahuah, the set-apart family. It will be an extraordinary time of discipline and refinement before the physical return of Yahusha Mashyach. To the unlearned, the disobedient, and the rebellious, it will be times of vengeance and wrath, pain and regret, unbearable, my brothers and sisters, for many. All that is unfolding before our very eyes will prove the presence of the Spirit of Yahuah, sending Yahusha's name, working before us, in us, and through us. Be advised, my brothers and sisters, movement will be intermittent. Moment by moment, we will find ourselves facing different types of refuge, places for shelter. There will be temporary shelters until such time we reach our destination, which is the mountain of Yahuah, the set-apart mountain, the true Mount Sinai, which is currently known as Jabal Alal, situated in the northwest quadrant in what is now known as Saudi Arabia. until most recently they began to make it open a little bit more so people can see it. For many centuries it has been guarded, but for such a time as this, it is being prepared to be released into the hands of the children of Yahuah. The 144,000 Hebrews, Abraham, along with a great multitude, will discover that their final place of refuge will be centered around the mountain of the Almighty Father Yahuah, Mount Sinai. Know this, my brothers and sisters. For some, refuge and shelter means physical death, sleep until judgment day. For others, refuge and shelter will be literal places to rest, to freshen up as we gradually migrate towards the exit point on the western coast, which I believe that exit point would be in the state of Virginia. For other countries and other nations, the exit will be in the region closest to the border that points to the promised land. I am charged, I believe, O Yashar'al, to contribute towards the mass gathering on the Western Hemisphere that I believe the exit will be in what is known as the Commonwealth of Virginia or the state of Virginia. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. 3 years. The clock is ticking. And when it talks about the days being shortened, when you migrate from the west coast of the Western Hemisphere towards the promised land, days are shortened. Timelines are shortened. If you think about it, look at it. For example, from California to Virginia, you would lose 3 hours. From Virginia to the promised land, you would lose 7. From California to the promised land, you would lose 10. This is what is meant by the days being shortened, my brothers and sisters. Pray and watch. The 144,000 in great multitude will find refuge and shelter along the way. And there will be times we will rest up and times we will continue on. Make no mistake, it's coming. Don't get caught in the congestion out of disobedience and unbelief. At least you find yourself doubting that there is an Almighty One. If you are caught in that, know that this is Yahuwah's plan, the Almighty Father's plan to gather his children. We don't think about the process and details in which he will do that. But being a stiff-necked people, we await the powerful chosen leaders of Yahuah, speaking powerful words that causes one to move, to be shaken, to act, to obey. Pray, O Yashar'al, refuge and shelter. Something to talk about, something to pray about, something to discuss, expectations to build with a ready mind to respond correctly and timely. Let us pray for those who will be physically alive and fulfill the task that is expected. Let us pray for those who will be left behind. Let us pray for those who will stumble and fall. Let us pray that they understand the plan of the Almighty Father. Let us pray for those who will be gathered that will discover it's not going to be a walk in the park. It will be back to the basics of survival and building up in a way that is directed by the Almighty Father. Refuge and shelter. Know the skills that are required, my brothers and sisters, for directing a people and for building a shelter, a literal physical shelter. Know the need to have the strength to walk away from a community, a shelter, a place, because the gathering from the four corners of the earth will require the stepping away, the walking away from stuff and things and people. Be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. These are the final days. Our redemption draws near. On that note, stay tuned. There is much more to come. My name is Symmanayah, and I come to you in the name of Yahusha Mashyach as your brother. I say to you, I bid you much encouragement. Pray. Seek to discern. Watch. Study. Pray some more. And seek to have a ready mind to discern and respond accurately. Again, be encouraged. On that note, I say to you, Shalum.